Brazilian officials have told the BBC that there's been an aggressive increase in deforestation since the election of President Bolsonaro in January. An area of Amazon rainforest roughly the size of a football pitch is now being cleared every minute. The rainforest, which plays a vital role in regulating the Earth's climate, covers an area 20 times the size of Britain. Nearly 2/3 of it is in Brazil. Crucially, it absorbs billions of tons of carbon dioxide every year and produces 20% of the oxygen in the atmosphere.
In the heart of Peruvian Amazon lies a cautionary tale. The story of the Interoceanic Highway, once championed as a gateway to economic development, its legacy now serves as a stark warning for regions like Europe, where another unplanned road threatens forests, indigenous tribes, and biodiversity. The Interoceanic Highway was built with promises of prosperity, a corridor connecting Puerto Maldonado in southeastern Peru to Inapari on the Brazilian border. It was envisioned as a lifeline for economic growth, facilitating trade, cheaper goods and improved livelihoods for local communities. Owners claimed the road would see 30 to 40 trucks daily, exporting Peruvian products to Pucca, Brazil and beyond. But a decade later, the reality tells a different story. Rather than boosting the local economy, the highway has fueled illegal activities. Trucks primarily transport wood, much of it cut illegally. Farmers, lured by promises of prosperity, clear and burn forests to grow crops. The invasion has given rise to land trafficking, further exacerbating deforestation. Organisations like the Israelite Mission of the New Universal Pact have joined this cycle of destruction, colonising the jungle by clearing poorly managed forest concessions near reserves for isolated indigenous tribes. In Madrid, a Dios region, unplanned development has turned Puerto Maldonado from a quiet jungle town into a hub for illegal gold mining and logging. Instead of economic prosperity, corruption scandals have plagued the project, involving several Peruvian presidents. The result? A fragile ecosystem devastated, indigenous communities displaced, and a cycle of environmental and social degradation that grows harder to reverse each year. Now, the Euro region faces a similar threat. A road is being constructed illegally by loggers and the cocoa mafia, with no environmental compliance or respect for indigenous rights. This road risks repeating the devastation seen in Madrid de Dios. Euro's forests are among the most intact in the Amazon, home to diverse wildlife and isolated tribes. But this could change if illegal roads open pathways for deforestation, land grabbing and resource exploitation. The lessons from the Interoceanic Highway are clear. Poorly planned roads in the Amazon bring promises of progress but deliver environmental destruction, social conflict and corruption. International treaties, such as the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, emphasize the need for informed consent and sustainable development. Peru must honour these commitments to protect the Euro region and its people. Under international environmental law, treaties such as the Convention on Biological Diversity (CBD), the United Nations Frameworks Convention on Climate Change and FCCC, and the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands emphasize the urgent need for sustainable land use and the protection of critical ecosystems. International commitments like the Paris Agreement stress the importance of preserving forests as vital carbon sinks in the fight against climate change. The fight for the Euro region is a fight for the Amazon itself, a fight for its forests, its tribes and its future. If we fail to act, we risk losing one of the world's most vital ecosystem to greed and short-sightedness.
And talk about this new study that shows that the world's biggest rainforest, the Amazon, has lost an area the size of Germany and France combined to deforestation in 4 decades. Let's show you this image. It's a map showing the scale of the Brazilian rainforest in 1985. The dark green section is the Amazon. Now, look at this. the same country in 2023, and you can see how much of the forest has disappeared. Let's speak to Professor Michael Sweet, head of the Nature-Based Solutions Research Centre at the University of Derby. Very good to have you with us, Michael. I think it almost needs repeating, doesn't it? The Amazon has lost an area the size of Germany and France combined in 4 decades. Just take us through what's happening to one of the world's most precious resources.
Yeah, so that's 12.5% of the Amazon's cover. Previously, people have been talking about deforestation of around 17%, so it's not unsurprising, this value, but it's the first time that it's been catalogued in such a reliable method. So that's 1/5 of the entire Amazon, which is now gone. But it gets even worse than that, because unfortunately the more and more hectares are at threat. So it's thought to be about 38% of the forests as well, on top of that, are actually in a degraded state.
And Michael, this is the fault of humankind?
Yeah, so sadly it's mostly deforestation, associated with agriculture for the most part, but then it's also entwined and linked with aspects of climate change, which again are anthropogenically driven, so human derived climate change, and that's causing the forests to dry out a lot more, so they're witnessing less rain, and so the Amazon, on top of losing the trees, the important tree aspect, and obviously the biodiversity which goes with that, the rivers are starting to dry out as well. And obviously the Amazon is famous for its river, as well as being the lungs of our planet, as the trees are concerned. And we're now starting to see devastating effects with this recently 120 of the endangered river dolphins being found dead as the river subsides.
Professor Michael Sweet, thank you very much for joining us.